Hello everyone, I'm Breor and welcome back to Goodgame Empire. Today's video is going to be a remastering of one of my first and most popular videos on YouTube, my original coverage of the Samurai Invasion. This event is actually my favorite in the game, and that's because almost all of its prizes are worthwhile. I also love attacking samurai camps because they make it easy for me to loot millions of coins in the short intervals during which they appear. I plan to take a look at all of the prizes with you guys one by one near the end of this video, but first let me show you how best to attack a samurai camp. Please bear in mind that because I am a level 70 player, the techniques I'll be using in this video will work best for other level 70s. I'm also far enough along in the game to have at least somewhat respectable equipment, so you should definitely try to match my equipment before you start expecting the same results. With that being said, let's move on. You will be given 4 samurai camps to attack every time the event appears, and normally they will be in the same locations as last time. Sometimes it can be difficult to find the 4th camp if it's not right next to your castle, but it's important that you hammer all 4 camps to whatever level is maximum right away. For level 70 players, the samurai camps will start at level 81 and will continue progressing until they reach level 90. The defense setup of the camp will change each time it levels up, but will not change once the camp reaches its maximum level, and we'll see how we can use this information to our advantage momentarily. As you can see, I have already leveled all of my camps up to their maximums. At this point, what I want to do is decide which would be easiest to attack. Here are the spy reports of my samurai camps. If you'd like to, please pause the video and decide which one you would think would be the easiest to attack. The truth is that I've been working with some really easy samurai camps this time around, and any answer would have been acceptable, though I am finding that the second camp works best. If you are completely lost, let me explain what qualities you should be looking for in a samurai camp. There are 2 things to which I would like to draw your attention: the tools the defender is using, and the ratio of his range to melee troops. Let's start by discussing the tools. These gray ones are called throwing nails, and they increase the combat strength of melee defenders by 33%. Because there's no way for us to negate the strength of melee defenders, we want to avoid attacking any flank that has 2 or more slots of throwing nails if possible. Sometimes this will not be possible, but we certainly want to avoid attacking any flank that has a high proportion of melee defenders and 3 slots of throwing nails. In addition to throwing nails, these samurai camps will also brandish Karamata arrowheads that increase the combat strength of ranged defenders by 50%. Because we can use mantlets to counter this, it shouldn't be a big concern to have a single slot of arrowheads, but you probably won't be able to use wooden mantlets to deal with 2 or 3 slots of these tools. You'll notice that 3 of my 4 samurai camps have one flank with 2 slots of arrowheads, but this isn't a problem because I can avoid those flanks by attacking the other ones. Thus we come to what I hope can be the biggest takeaway from this video for you. When attacking nomad and samurai camps, always choose to attack the center and whatever flank is easiest. Attacking all 3 sections would waste tools, and in most cases would not lead to a noticeable reduction in casualties. Failing to attack the center would lead to a deficit of attackers in the courtyard, and only attacking the center would lead to your courtyard troops facing a 30% combat strength degradation. Therefore, even if you think you have a surplus of tools, attacking the center and one flank is definitely the way to go. As I mentioned, I have been having the most luck with the second samurai camp, so that's the one I will be targeting in this video. Let's jump into the attack window now. As usual, the first order of business is going to be to select your commander. I have several commanders I use to attack samurai camps, but I definitely think my best is the Necromancer. You can pause the video if you'd like to read through the stats on this commander, but that which makes it best is definitely its superior wall reduction. When attacking with this commander, I don't need to include any ladders, so I have a lot more room for mantlets and rams. With that being said, I'm going to use a different commander for this video because I think doing so will provide you with a better demonstration. Meet the Buccaneer, a commander assembled from 2 pieces out of the Blade Coast and 2 pieces from Luna's trade boat in the Storm Islands. I've made a video specifically about this commander in the past, and you can check the video description for a link if you're interested in knowing more. After you select your commander, the next orders of business shall be providing the center with tools and selecting which flank to attack. Spy the camp if you haven't already, because helpful information appears across the top of this window whenever you have done so. We can use these numbers to determine how many tools we will need to send alongside our attack, and we can make our judgment about whichever flank is easiest based on those tool requirements. Be sure to double check that your target's flank's melee defender's combat strength isn't excessively high. Anything above 186% is cause for concern. If you are a level 70 player attacking a level 90 samurai camp, you might consider adding 2 token chests to your attack. Doing so will almost ensure your troops return home with more than 75 tokens, which is the magic number for scoring more points in a seasonal event such as the Summer Contest. If no seasonal event is currently running, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about using token chests. Due to the strength of my commander, I am confident that the enemy's wall defenses will be beaten by my first wave of attack. If you are unsure about your commander, I would add tools to the second wave. It doesn't hurt to play it safe because these tools will return to your castle if they aren't used on the attack, provided of course that you win. Now that our tools are in place, we can focus on inserting troops. You should definitely use ranged attackers on the wave or waves that you have tooled because we negated the ranged defenders using mantlets. To determine what troops to place in subsequent waves, examine the remaining flank to see what you will be facing in the courtyard. Remember that ranged defenders are weak against melee attackers, and melee defenders are weak against ranged attackers. Fill in accordingly. It's now time for me to launch this attack, but since this camp has already reached its maximum level, there's actually something more I can do. This samurai's defense setup will not change when it is beaten, so I can use the same spy report to launch a second consecutive attack, and I will do so with the necromancer. Launching multiple attacks at once is only something you should do when you are able to give the samurai your full attention, as you will need to use accelerators to skip the camp's cooldown after the first attack is successful. If you fail to do this in time, your second attack will bounce, and you will receive a message reading "No battle" in your inbox. You definitely want to use accelerators to skip these cooldowns when possible, as using rubies is wasteful for low-level players and mind-bogglingly expensive for high-level players. You can get accelerators just by playing in a good alliance. Now that both of my attacks have landed, let's take a peek at the battle reports. As you can see, both of our battles went very well, and our efforts to defeat the samurai have been totally worth it. I am normally feasting during this event to replace the troops that I lose, but it's actually really easy to stay feasting because the camps give out generous portions of food. Take a look at how many coins one gets for defeating a single level 90 samurai camp. These coins will be instrumental for buying more wooden ladders and upgrading equipment. I will be skeptical of any report showing fewer casualties because oftentimes getting fewer casualties means spending more tools. In addition to the usual loot, samurai camps also dispense tokens, a form of currency that can be used to purchase items from the shogun's camp outside your main castle. If you want to get more tokens on your individual attacks, there are two things you can do. Send token chests alongside your attacks, as I've already mentioned, and or purchase a samurai booster from one of the ruby deals that can appear. This being Goodgame Empire, there's always a way to get ahead with your credit card. So now that we've learned how to defeat the camps, let's take a peek at the prizes. At the top of the prize selection window here, we have several different types of build items. Purchasing build items with your tokens would not be a bad decision, but I don't find them very exciting, so I tend to gravitate towards other options. Beneath the build items, we encounter 4 different types of troops. I don't think that there would be any good reason to buy defenders from the shogun, but these attackers are reasonably powerful and most quick, making them great for sneaky attacks. Further below, we encounter the 2 types of tools that we saw earlier in this video. Throwing nails can be used to erect a very formidable defense with veteran spearmen, and are good to have around in the case of an emergency. You can also use lime bombs, purchased from the nomads, for this purpose, as the 2 tools have the same effect. Karamata arrowheads are not as useful because they are less powerful than arrow slits, and you should always strive to use the most powerful tools on your defense. Below these tools is the option to exchange your tokens for coins at what could only be described as an abysmally poor rate. I once overheard an Alliance member state that he was going to spend his 20,000 tokens all on coins, and I sincerely hoped he was joking. Please do not do this. The next item on this page is, if you will pardon the hyperbole, the single best thing in the game. Fountains of Inner Peace give out 220 public order, which makes them more powerful than almost all of the other achievable decorative items. Unless your alliance is capable of winning an event and earning for you a super decorative item, such as the Temple of Harmony, the Fountain of Inner Peace is as good as it gets. Below this you can find 2 full sets of unique equipment, one of which is for your Castellans, and one of which is for your commanders. It does take a fair deal of patience to save up enough tokens to purchase all of the pieces to one or both of these sets, but the Samurai Invasion definitely offers players a way to get going with good equipment in the game. So as you guys can see, almost all of these prizes are really good, and it can be difficult to make your selection once you get to this screen. That's a totally different story than the Nomads prizes page, where the only thing I would even be happy to get would be the Horsedale standards. Anyways, I know precisely what I'm going to buy tonight, and I'm very happy to complete the installation of fountains in my first outpost during today's video. There's one last thing I think we should take a look at to make this video guide complete, and that would be the Alliance Rewards page. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things you can earn just by being in a good alliance, and preferably helping out, is accelerators. As you can see, I have earned some accelerators last night from this very event, so that's sort of how it works, and that's how Goodgame Studios has increased the importance of being in a good team. Other prizes that you can get from being in a good alliance include gifts, tools, and troops. Thanks very much for watching today's video. If you learned anything at all, or if you were entertained by it, please consider giving it a big thumbs up. I hope this was a massive improvement upon my original coverage of the topic, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.